Namaskar and welcome again to Planet to Soul Astrology. So, friends, hope you all are doing wonderful and yes, learning from my videos. Today, friends, we will talk about Jupiter and Puranas or Puranic characters, like multiple kings were there from each territory. Now it is district, but previously certain territories used to be there in the time of Ramayana, in the time of Mahabharata. Uh, Also coming down lane to all the kings of particular region. So see, we all are not very aware about all the horoscope, but whatever are available online or what I read from Shri KJ Mehta's book connected to Jupiter, which is Karako Bhav Nashaya or Sthan Hani Kare Jiva. So when we talk about Jupiter, so always we feel that no, Jupiter is a very pious planet. Yes, of course, it is a benefic planet, it is a good planet, it is a fruit giver planet, but when it gives adverse fruits, like Jupiter is curse also. It is not always necessary that Jupiter has to give you fantastic fruits. No, because I have seen in endless horoscopes that ninth house Jupiter, fifth house Jupiter are making person wise, but at the same time they are suffering more than a normal person. Jupiter in seventh house, any houses Jupiter. So here you should know that whether this Jupiter is benefic for you or no, or whether Jupiter is giving you better fruits or no. That is why in Panchanga also, like your birth Panchang, whenever you are born, every time it is written Ghatwar or Ghat planet, means this planet maybe look wise or first glance you see that yeah, it is posited in a good house or something, but maybe that planet is not fructifying you good. So friends, today I will just tell you what I happen to read from Shri KJ Mehta's book connected to Jupiter in different houses and how it is giving we always talk about positive fruits. So how it is also giving other than positive fruits to native. So we will talk about that. So everyone is aware that Sri Ram has exalted Jupiter in ascendant. So whenever exalted Jupiter was there, like so Jupiter was exalted in Sri Ram's Kundali. So, what Sri KJ Mehta tries to say here, what I read from his books, that it is not always the benefic planet that it is exalted, so it is going to give fantastic fruit. No doubt it was aspected by exalted Mars as well from 7th house, but this exalted Jupiter made him to go for Vanvas because of the Brahman Shrap or because of the Guru Shrap. He has to suffer a lot in spite of having wise personality. He did not do anything wrong to anyone, but still he has to go for Vanvas. He has to go in jungle for 14 years and his whole life passed in that jungle, and rest you know those stories. So Guru in ascendant, Jupiter or Guru in second house, that is a house of family. Bhishma Pitamaha had this planetary position in his horoscope, that is second house Jupiter, made him to leave his kingdom, and he left everything in Kutumba Viyog, like he could not find anyone very near and dear in spite of everyone giving him so much of respect, love, affection, but still one fine day what happened, that because of family reasons, because of Rajya reasons, that is kingdom reason, he has to leave the kingdom, and then he lived his life without any material things around. So this is what fruit are observed. So Jupiter in third house of horoscope, which is a Sahaj Bhav, or which is Bandhav Bhav, or which is a Parakram Bhav. courage house. So whenever Jupiter is was posited in third house, then it made Bali Raja to leave earth and go to Patal Loka. Everyone is aware about the story. Vamana Avatar asked Bali Raja to, he was the best charitable person on this earth, and then Vaman Avatar, that is Vishnu Bhagwan, asked him to grant him donation, that what you can give, and with three steps the whole the whole earth was given to you know, Krishna or Vishnu or Vaman Avatar or whatever you know about this story, because I know that multiple comments will come connected to this. But ultimately what I mean to say that because Bali Raja had Jupiter in third house of horoscope, which is eighth to eighth house. He has to go in eighth house only. Again, in Patal Loka he has to go. Third house is of Brahma Murta also. So he has to again start the whole cycle. This is what Jupiter affects. Jupiter in fourth house of horoscope, which is a Sukha Sthana. So Jupiter in fourth house made Raja Harishchandra to go through Agni Pariksha. Raja Harishchandra was the truthful person on this earth. There are bias, opinions or comments about it, that who was the most truthful between multiple kings. But we always say, don't become Raja Harishchandra. Why are you speaking so much of truth? Sometimes keeping mum is also necessary if you do not want to speak truth, or if you do not want to speak lie also, then keep mum. So Raja Harishchandra, if you happen to see and read his story, so he has to he has to give away everything, and he has to accept the slavery type things. This is what this type of examination or this type of pariksha he has to give. Okay, so this is about fourth house, that is Sukhasthana. He has to quit everything and then he has to go away. Then comes the Jupiter in Santan Bhav, that is Jupiter in fifth house, that is past life karma, Mantra Siddhi Bhav, or fifth house of horoscope, which is the Meru Danda house of our Kundali. So whenever Jupiter goes in Santan Bhava, which made Raja Dashrath to have Putra Viyog, because this Jupiter, we say that it is a Karak house for Jupiter. Jupiter is a signification planet, significator planet to give childbirth, but this Jupiter only made Raja Dashrath to have Putra Viyog. So it was as equal as having no children. That is why we see multiple horoscope. Exalted Jupiter in fifth house, Jupiter in fifth house, still they are lingering to have child bliss. They are not having proper education. So this is what happened with Raja Dashrath. So Jupiter in sixth house of horoscope we will talk, which is a Shatru Bhav. Shatru Bhav means when somebody comes very near to you and all of a sudden, after giving lot of love, affection, starts behaving like an enemy. So whenever Jupiter is in sixth house, what he has written, Shri K.J. Mehta, that whenever Jupiter was in Shatru Bhava, it gave a situation of Vastraharan to Draupadi. Okay, so you know the story of Vastraharan of Draupadi, and Shri Krishna granted with long sari to Mata Draupadi, and then Vastraharan was taken place in gambling procedure of in a kingdom. Everyone is aware about that. Because Jupiter was in sixth house, she has to go through this enmity process, because everyone was a family member over there. Nobody was outsider. Still she has to suffer this way, because that was her prarabdha. That was the Guru Shrap on her. Isn't it very learning things? In our life also we have to just see how this Jupiter is giving us fruit. It's not that always you have to match the equal way how what I am saying. Jupiter in seventh house of horoscope. Seventh house is of marriage, commitment, bonding, unity, partnership, public image. Okay, how you your social status also. So whenever Jupiter is in 7th house, what it gave, that Raja Aja or Raja Ajraj also. Raja Aja was one of the famous king holding a kingdom, who was married to Rani Indumati. Okay, who was married to Rani Indumati. This Indumati Rani was a Apsara. I do not know English name for this Apsara, but who came from heaven, and when Narada's garland came in her came on her body on earth, and that time she vanished from earth, and then King Aja loved her so much that he has to suffer Bharya Viyog. That is, he has to suffer Patni Viyog. That is why we say that 7th house Jupiter gives late marriage or lack of marital bliss, or maybe they are separated due to different reasons. Do not take it as it is, but try to understand the garbha of it. Try to understand the hollow thing inside whatever I am saying you. This is very meaningful, and we are learning so much from all these Shastra stories through kings and their kingdom. So much we are learning. So 7th house Jupiter also, we all know that how it fruits. It's not that they are not getting good partner, but it is like that some or other way it's either late marriage, or they are getting a delay in marriage, or obstacles in marriage, or some or other way the bliss is getting away from that. So whenever Jupiter is in Ashtam Bhav, that is 8th house of horoscope, what we call as a Guda Bhav. Guda Bhav, the Ravana got death in battlefield, because Ravana had Jupiter in 8th house of horoscope. He has a Brahman Shrap again. He has a Guru Shrap. He has a Rushi Shrap on him. That is why he has to. That is why he has to stay in that battlefield, and he was supposed to get killed by Sri Ram. And this was already destined, this was already decided, and what took place immediately. So this is what 8th house. So 8th house Jupiter, what does it say? That do not be grounded, be humble. Whatever you have, do not always show off, unless and do not leave your tapasya, do not leave your tapa, do not leave your territory, do not leave your meditative quality, do not leave your humble lifestyle. That Almighty will give you fruit accordingly. That is why always 8th house Jupiter says, be humble, whatever is coming on your way, just accept it. The more you will run after anything, the less you will get, or the worst you will get. That is why 8th house Jupiter is also called as a curse of Brahman or Rishi. Jupiter posited in 9th house of horoscope, that is Bhagya Bhav. So whenever Jupiter is posited in Bhagya Bhav, it gave Rishi Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra was a famous Rishi with multiple divine power in him. So he has to suffer loss of reputation, which is called as manhani, and he has to suffer rajhani, which we call as a social stigma like thing. And in that kingdom only reputation break, and because of social stigma, because of Jupiter in 9th house of horoscope, he has to suffer a lot, because when the temperament or when the mental level or wiseness goes beyond your ego, then, or when your knowledge and ego is going beyond your knowledge, then definitely because of certain things you have to suffer, or because of guru curse. Even if we do not know what was the actual story, see, multiple stories we find in on Google or in some shastras or in books. But this is what ninth house Jupiter. So ninth house Jupiter also gives sometimes loneliness to you. Maybe in society people are not talking to you, or wherever you go then some or other type of social insult you get. Yes, such type of fruits maybe people are observing. So just write in a comment box as well. So this is about Jupiter in ninth house of horoscope. So whenever Jupiter is posited in 10th house of horoscope. So 10th house of horoscope, like 10th house Jupiter was granted to Duryodhan. Okay, he had Jupiter in his 10th house of horoscope, which gave uh, him sufferings because of his ego, because of not leaving comfort zone, because of always uh, becoming self-centered personality, and above that it also gave the killing element in him. He always wanted to kill others. Okay, this is not done, kill. This is not done. It could be actual killing, or it could be killing of anyone's emotion. This is very, very important thing. So Jupiter in 11th house, that is gain house, labha bhav. What it gave? So it, see, you must be aware about Raja Nal. Nal and Damayanti, you must be aware about it. So what it gave, Raja Nal had a Jupiter in 11th house of horoscope, which gave him suffering or downfall of Rajya. Because of Rajya Bhrashta, he has to leave his kingdom due to some or other reason, and he has to accept the slavery like life. Okay, this is what came in part of Raja Nal. Then Jupiter in 12th house of horoscope. So 12th house of horoscope, Raja Pandu had Jupiter in 12th house of horoscope, which made him to leave his kingdom and go to jungle, go for Vanvas. Raja Pandu. That is why you have to observe which type of Jupiter. See, these all people were wealthy, divine personality, Daivi Shakti everyone had, divine powers everyone had, but all are born with certain curse. That is why they are born as a humans. We call them devatas, but when they were born, they born as a human. That is why we have their worship places all around world, all around India. So this is what I wanted to tell you all about Karko Bhavanashaya and Sanahani Karejiva, Jupiter and all these characters. So I hope you will connect this stories in your horoscope, and you will try to find the other fruits than positive fruits about Jupiter. So stay tuned with my channel. Do not forget to subscribe, share and like my channel. And as I always say, Sabka Mangal Ho. May all be blessed. Namaste. Thank you.